for daffodils are in the wrong lecture. I don't do daffodils. Do they even grow here?
Probably once,
Maybe, and then they die.
and then they die.
All right, I know a lot of you have been here to my herb lectures before, so I've changed it up a little bit, but there's a lot of people that haven't been here. So you'll have to bear with me, because we want to include everybody. So how many here are already growing herbs? A little over half. You're probably growing herbs whether you know it or not, because there's a lot of plants that are considered to be herbs, okay? So we have about 400,000 documented plants here on Earth, although they're finding new species all the time in the Amazon, so who knows, that's why I say approximately. About 200 of them are considered to be herbs. I know it seems like there should be a lot more, but if you consider something like basil that has 150 or so species, it's a lot more than that. So, and a lot of weeds are considered herbs. You start considering those. There's a lot of things. But these are the ones that have actually been studied to have medicinal purposes. And that's why they only say 200. But they are discovering more and more all the time. Not a lot of time and money is put into it because, of course, the pharmaceuticals can't make any money off of herbs. It's a plant that's easy to grow for everybody, so they don't put a lot of time into it. But even they have to admit there are a lot of medicinal good properties to these herbs, and a lot of our medicines nowadays do contain herbs. So they're a pretty neat plant. All right. AgriLife does like me to have you read this disclaimer, because even though they trained me, they don't want to trust anything that comes out of my mouth, so they want you to read that in case I say something that, who knows. So go ahead and read it. I'll give you a second. But I'm the first one to tell you, if you're going to use herbs for medicinal purposes, please see your doctor and talk to them first. Herbs are very powerful medicine, and they can interfere or up the value of prescription drugs. So you don't want to do that accidentally. So please talk to your doctors. And a lot of Western doctors are more open to herbs nowadays. Even my doctor here in town, doctors, I'm retired military, doctors at BAMC, they're open to herbs now. So I'm very happy to hear that and to see that with a lot of doctors. A few years ago, they really weren't open to hearing about herbs. They thought it was just all folklore and wives' tales. So today we're going to be looking at some of the herbs that are easier to propagate in warm weather. And of course we are getting warm finally after the last couple of nights that were a little bit of a surprise. We're going to look at where to place them for convenience and some ideas on how to use your herbs, because I really want you to use your herbs. I don't want you just growing them and saying, oh, I have herbs. Isn't that cool? Do you grow herbs? Yeah, I grow herbs. Ooh, what kind of herbs do you grow, right? But if you don't use them, they're not going to do you any good. Although they are really nice to smell. I oftentimes go by and run my hands and pet my herbs and smell them. They're delicious.
I can smell it over here.
From here, right? Just from doing that. I have some chocolate mint at home in one of those half barrel things, and I'll just run my hand over it to smell the chocolate. And my husband across the driveway, way over on the other side, I smell that chocolate, yeah. Carries. It's very aromatic. So how are you going to use your herbs? You need to kind of decide that to know what you want to grow, unless you want to be like me and just have a million different things growing all over the place. It really helps to know how you're going to use them. What are you going to use them for? Are you going to use them for medicinal reasons? For aromatherapy, like we were just talking about? Landscaping, there's some really, really pretty herbs that are great for landscaping. Companion planting. People don't use our herbs enough for companion planting. They're great for that. So you have a tomato plant, you have some oregano and basil, and then you have a pepper, and you'll be surprised at how little pests come in, the bad pests, right? It'll keep those bad pests away, and you won't have to use so much insecticide and the things that are bad for you. And maybe just all of the above. I pretty much use my herbs for all of the above. So today we're going to talk about these warm weather herbs. And the difference between these is some are perennial. They'll keep growing year after year. Some are annual, so you'll have to replant or collect the seeds and get them started again. So your annuals, like in red. Some are perennials that down here actually are annuals, or people grow them as annuals. So you have to consider that. Some of the things I keep going year round are the moringa. I just move it into a greenhouse. I chop it back. I put it in my greenhouse so I have it year round. Same with my sage. But if you leave it out in the yard, it probably won't make it through some severe weather. So just be aware of that. I got some people taking pictures. I'll give you a second. And then we're going to discuss some other things. There's one thing listed up here that isn't a biannual, and that is parsley. It lives for about 2 years, and then it goes to seed and dies. What happens though, what you can do is the trick of the trade, is when it goes to seed that second year, it bolts up, goes to seed, what you do is you chop it all the way down to the ground, just whack it off all the way down to the ground, and it starts coming back again. It's a little trick, and you don't have to go buy a new one or propagate a brand new one. Oh, we're still taking pictures. Everybody got a picture?
So that's after 2 years you can do?
At 2 years, you'll see it bolt, and it'll send out its seeds, and then you'll just whack it off. You gotta mistreat your herbs. They're not a plant that likes to be babied. And I think that's what a lot of people do to their herbs. They baby it, they water it too much, they give it too much fertilizer. And herbs don't like that. There's only a couple that like a little extra treatment, and we'll talk about those. I also like to look at where things come from. For me, that's very important. I would love to grow Pennyroyal, but Pennyroyal grows up in northern England, which has a totally different climate from us, and it wouldn't work here. So don't waste your money. I know a lot of box stores will bring in all kinds of plants, and they've been growing up in Wisconsin or somewhere where they do great, and you bring them down here and they sell them, and you take them home, and what happens? They die. So you might have them for a little while, and then that's it, right? So look at, and you can see a lot of the things that do well here are from places like the Mediterranean that have a similar climate to ours, right? We're going to look at that a little bit. And one of them is thyme. This is thyme. It's time for music. Thank you. That was perfect timing. Thyme is from Eurasia. Have you ever looked at a map of Eurasia? It's big. Look at how much that is. They're like on the other side of the world from us. But the reason I like looking at this, if you look at these, what is it, the latitude of this way? Look at whatever's going this way. You look across, now look at this little boot looking thing. That's Saudi Arabia, right? Or what used to be Saudi Arabia, but whoever it is now. If you look at that, you can see that line there. And then we're going to go to the other side of the world. I know you don't like me doing that, Paul, sorry. Okay, here's a world map. So here's that boot again, for reference, right there. So if you come across, that seems to kind of line up with us, right? So you've got northern Africa, you've got the Mediterranean pretty close there, Asia, the bottom part of Asia, top part of India. So when you look at where your herbs are native to, which is this, a lot of them are right in here, that pretty much lines up with us, right? So you look at an herb and it's native to northern Europe, somewhere up in here, it's probably not going to do well here. Does that make sense? That's why I look at what they're native to. All right, and that's just a close-up of Asia, because a lot of our herbs, you'll see, come from Asia in this area right in here, which is the Tropic of Cancer. So you can take it around the other side of the world. Oh, they call it Saudi Arabia for you. I never know what things are called nowadays. So you look at the Tropic of Cancer. So it's right across kind of sort of the middle of that boot. There's that boot again. India, any of your herbs growing in there, they're probably going to do well here. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right. So back to the United States. That's us. We're right down in here somewhere, right? If you're not from here, to find out what zone you are, there's some people, there's somebody in the classroom.
The only reason I'm laughing, April, is when I first moved here,
What zone
my
are we?
first efforts at growing things, which is why I became a master gardener,
Exactly.
it's different here.
It is very different, yeah. But the government came up with this neat little website. You go to the website, if you're not from here, you type in your zip code, I typed in 78155 and it tells you we're now in 9A. They changed us to 9A last year, I think it was. I guess we're getting a little bit warmer. We used to be 9, we used to be 8B. It's getting warmer, right? You're way back. So yeah, you just type in your zip code. If you're not from here, if you're up near Wimberley or somewhere like that, type in that zip code and it's going to move you up and tell you what zone you're in. So that's kind of a neat little, it gives you all kinds of information actually. So take down that website you can go to. It's pretty cool. All right, so now we're down to herbs. Is it herbs or herbs? Herbs. Either one. Depends on where you're from. If you're in England, you better say herbs, because that's what they say. They're up in New England as well. Down here, pretty much everybody says herbs with the silent F, H. So if you watch, what's her name, the cooking lady? Martha Stewart, yeah. You'll see on her shows, sometimes she'll say herbs, sometimes she'll say herbs. I think it's where she's giving her lecture from or whatever. She goes back and forth. If she goes back and forth, I think we can go to either one. All right. Basil. Basil is my favorite herb. I just had somebody today, where'd she go? Ask me if I'm only going to grow 1 or 2 herbs, what am I going to start with? And I said basil. It's about the easiest of the herbs if you ask me to grow. It propagates in about 2 or 3 days if you do it from seed. It's a very eager herb. It wants to grow, it wants to propagate. If you take a cutting, if you have, no, I didn't bring any today. If you take a cutting of it, stick it in some water, again, 2 or 3 days, me and those roots are out there. It's anxious, it's ready to go. It's so much fun. If you have kids, it's a great summer project because they can see almost instant gratification. We all like that, right? Whereas thyme, rosemary, some of the other ones take forever. They're so slow. This one will give you instant gratification. It's delicious in salads and on pizza and in your sauces. If you're only going to grow 1 herb, and you maybe in an apartment or something like that, it'll grow in a pot. Basil's a good starter. You just can't go wrong with it. So, it likes the sun. It likes to be out there where it's hot. It's one of those that just loves our Texas sun. Every year I put mine out in my front yard that gets the west sun. It gets to be probably about this tall and about this wide. My Genovesa, my purple, whatever I have out front. It flowers to beat the band. The bees love it. A lot of times I'll have to compete with the bees to try going and get my snipping. I'm like, so sorry, I need a snipping because it's just covered with bees. They love it. If you go early in the morning, maybe you can get in and get your cuttings real quick before the bees come in. So it has multiple purposes. It's good to eat, it's good for the environment, it's good for our pollinators. It's a great companion plant to all kinds of things. It deters, the smell of it deters some of the bad pests away from your tomatoes, your peppers, some other things. And on the other hand, it actually attracts the good pollinators. It's really funny how it does that. It's like the bad bugs don't like it and the good bugs do. How excellent is that? It's like the perfect little herb. And of course there's different types. I don't think I kept it this time. There's all kinds of basil though. There's Thai basil and Christmas basil and purple basil and red basil and, oh gosh, just 150 varieties. Just lots and lots of varieties. So shop around, get some different ones, try some different seeds. They all grow about the same. They're all from the mint family and they're delicious. Different tastes, different things. All right, mutual plant health for some of your peppers, things like that. Catnip versus catmint. How many people have cats? A couple of you? Okay, it's worth talking about. Do you know the difference between catnip and catmint? A lot of people don't. They're actually 2 different plants. People think they're the same, so if you go in a store and you buy catmint thinking you're getting it for your cat, the cats might react to it a little bit, but not like catnip. They're totally 2 different plants. And everybody thinks catmint is prettier. It's purple. It's usually the one they'll use it for the ornamental. I think catnip is pretty too. It's got a little white flower that looks like tiny little orchids. I think it's very cute. But apparently they don't think it's as attractive. I know. Yeah, I really like it. So catmint, you propagate this one by division. It can be a little bit invasive, it'll take off, but if you're trying to have some good ground cover and good landscaping, it's very, very pretty. It'll take off, it'll get pretty big. It likes a little bit of a humus-rich soil. Basil and catnip, catmint, they like a little bit richer soil. Most other herbs do not. They're not very picky, so we're getting these couple out of the way first. It can be, like I said, invasive. So you either want to put it in a pot or in a contained area, just like you would any of your mints. Any in the mint family are going to be like that. Your oreganos, anything like that's going to be a little bit invasive, so just be aware of that. So that's your purple catmint. Catnip is the one that's going to get your cats a little bit drunk. It's kind of like a 5 o'clock adult drink for your cat. I grow both. And our outdoor feral cats roll and play in both of them. Supposedly catnip is more potent, but they seem to like both. So, if you have cats, you might want to consider that. Those little packets of catnip dried up get kind of expensive. Yeah?
Is there human benefits other than?
There are to both of these. I don't get into the medicinal much, but I think I do kind of put footnotes if you want to read about what it does. Catnip was used historically for indigestion, things like that. Catmint was more for, I didn't really, well, it was thought to have supernatural powers in medieval times. But it was actually used also for medicinal purposes. You'd have to look into it. These you have to be a little bit careful with. They affect women's health a lot of times. The catmint and catnip both, with menstruation and pregnancies and things like that. So that's why I don't talk about them a whole lot. You can get in trouble with that. Yeah.
Is the catmint related to what I've heard called the horse mint and other like mint and spearmint? Are they all different varieties of the same?
Not to horse mint. This is from the let's see if I can pronounce it, Nipito family, whereas the mints, or when we get to the mints, you'll see what family they're from. They're from a different plant family. This is from the Cattleya. So no, I don't think they're part of the same family. Not the same genus, not the same. I know all that gets kind of confusing. Yeah. But it is invasive like a mint. It'll spread. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right. Any questions about catnip, catmint? Yep.
I mean, just kind of interesting to see that it might help with insomnia.
Yeah, that's what it's been used for. So I think you could make a tea out of it. People may dry it and make a tea out of it, so you could try it. I think there's other things that probably would be better for insomnia, more relaxing. Like I said, this one can get you in trouble with some of the women, especially women problems. So you might want to stay away from it for that. Keep it for the cats and for the landscaping. All right, chives. Anybody growing chives? Hey, good. They're delicious, right? You growing onion or garlic?
It's onion.
Onion, garlic, onion also. I see. It seems like according to where you put it and how much you use it, how much you nip it back, you'll have more luck with one or the other. I actually have more luck with the garlic in my yard. I do have a small patch of the onion. I keep both. It's delicious. It's easy to propagate. You do it by division. Does everybody know what division is? Every few years, what you should do is when you get a big clump of it, you should pull the whole clump out, put it like on a tarp or a clean area, divide it, give some to your friends, and then carefully put it back in the same hole, and that's going to actually make your chives healthier. Okay, if you just let them go year after year after year, they're not going to do as well. So that's the one thing to know about chives. Very slow to grow from seed. I wouldn't recommend it. I would do it by division, so find a friend that has it. I have some. Say, hey, can I have a chunk of your chives? And you can get some, yeah. Other than that, once you get it going, it will keep going and going and going. Mine kind of dies back in the winter. I let the leaves kind of cover it up and it'll disappear. And then when it starts warming up, we'll just see all these little fingers coming up. And now I've got a big old clump again. And the onion does the same thing, both of them. So this is at the beginning of spring. And right now it's probably about that tall. So it comes up real quick. Okay, and the difference, the onion is the skinnier. If you're into that, it's kind of a skinny looking chive. The garlic is more of a flat, wider leaf. So that's how you tell, or you taste it. Taste it or smell it. It's pretty easy to distinguish once you do that. Cilantro, who's growing cilantro? You having luck with it this year? Is it doing okay?
Yeah, my next door neighbor had a whole backyard full of it
Good.
last year, and then this year, it's all on my side.
Troubles. A lot of people are having trouble with cilantro. That's why I was asking this year, and I'm not sure why.
I don't have as many as I did last year.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the weather, because it's like we warmed up and then we got really cold again, and then we warmed up and then we got really cold again, and I don't think it liked that very much. It's kind of a finicky herb. I put it in with the summer herbs because it does do well in the spring, but when it starts getting really, really hot, it will bolt, and then it'll pretty much be it for the winter. For the summer. You can bring it inside. It does well in a pot, so you could do that if you make a lot of salsas. Mary? I got her salsa, and her recipe's delicious. So you could bring it inside and let it grow where the temperature's more even, because once it gets hot, it's not going to make really, really hot. I'm talking hot. It's not going to make it, and in the winter it won't make it. But it's a good one to grow right now because you have your tomatoes going, you've harvested your onions, you have your peppers going, so you have all the ingredients for your salsa. And that's why I like growing it right now. You can freeze it.
Yes.
It's a delicate herb, so you want to freeze it in water, maybe in ice cubes or something like that. A lot of times what I'll do is just take a shallow pan of water and I'll lay it in the water and then freeze the sheet, and then you can break off what you need to make whatever you're making your recipes, and you can do it that way. So it does freeze well. Of course, it's going to be mushy. You wouldn't want to put it where you need something pretty, but you get the flavor of it. It retains the flavor. Fairly easy to do from seed. It does take about 3 or 4 weeks. And sometimes you have problems with, of course, your seeds rotting. For something that takes that long, it's a balancing act with the moisture levels. I know people tend to overwater. If you have something that's taking forever to come up and you've been watering it, your seed probably rotted. Yeah, so that's the problem with that. So, any questions about cilantro? Okay. Dill. Dill is a funny one. I love to have it because I do pickles. Mine comes up volunteer, and right now mine's about this tall, got lots of heads on it. Melinda, how's yours doing? Where's Melinda? You got lots of heads on yours too?
Yeah, mine's only like any high, so it's all.
Well, I don't know, mine came up early and it's just going crazy. Problem is I don't have my cucumbers yet this year.
Mine came up about 1.5 feet and flowered out.
Oh, really? You have to keep dill fairly moist, or that's going to happen. Yeah, especially at the beginning. If you don't keep it moist, it's going to bolt, and then that's pretty much it. Great for our pollinators. The caterpillars the butterflies love laying their babies. Caterpillars love it. They'll munch down on it. Problem I had last year, I had tons of cucumbers. My dill was just coming up, and caterpillars came in and stripped it. So I had to go to Melinda and get some dill. This year my dill's up, it's huge, I've got all the heads, it's beautiful, I don't have any cucumbers. Timing is everything, right?
Well, you can dry it, can't you?
You can dry it, I like the fresh for my pickles, I just can't beat that flavor, it's so good. So I try to time it to where they come out together. Propagating indoors is tricky, it has a long taproot. I did try to propagate some because everybody was asking for it at our plant sale, so I tried, and I started at the same time as my volunteer came out at home, and the ones inside are about maybe this tall and they look horrible. Like I said, my one outside is just gorgeous, so it's a tricky one too. Better outside, but you have to wait till the soil temperature is above 50. It does like it warm. That's why it's in the warm category. Before that, it's not gonna come up. And I think how I got the volunteers, well, I didn't do it, they did it themselves. We had that warm spell, right? The soil warmed up, the seeds that were in there went, oh, we're nice and warm, and it grew up. But it grew high enough, because believe it or not, it will withstand a pretty good freeze. So it was big enough and strong enough that when we had that last freeze, that last little freeze a few weeks ago, it withstood it and just kept growing. So I didn't do anything, it did it on its own that time. But know that if you do have an established one and we do have that late freeze, you'll be okay. It'll withstand it. You won't have to cover it or anything. It's a miraculous plant. It's pretty neat. Questions? No? Fennel. Anybody grow fennel? Have. Do you like it? You like it? It has that aniseed, that black licorice taste, right? Some people like it, I hate it.
Butterflies love it.
I was gonna cut mine, I was growing some, and it had a beautiful face, so I thought, well, I'll cut this. But apparently I waited too long and it just, rotted out, so.
Oh,
you have the bulb, do you have any info on the bulb?
Did it get hot?
What was the one that was like 2 years ago?
It's another one, when it gets really hot, it won't like that. It likes it warm to start out, but when it gets really hot, it'll bolt. And you might have cut it right at a time that just didn't work out.
Yeah, I think I waited too long.
Too long, yeah. Yeah. So I would again advise to direct sow this into the ground. It's got a long tap root. If you try to start it indoors, you'd have to be really, really careful with the roots. So if you want to get a head start, you could try it. They have those compostable pots nowadays, and I recommend things that have a long tap root. Start them in those because you can take the whole container, set it in the ground, and you're not messing with the roots. A lot of these herbs don't like their roots messed with. So that way you don't have to touch them, you don't have to try to get it out, be careful with the roots and maybe touch them. And some of these herbs don't like the roots touched. They go, oh, they freak out and they could even die. So with those pots that you can just sit in the ground, if the roots did start growing into them, you're safe because they'll just go right through them and keep growing into the ground. But it's best to do it in the ground if you can wait. It likes a well-draining soil. A lot of these do not like wet roots either. They don't like their feet wet, so you need to have a good draining soil and keep it moist. Don't disturb the taproot. When it's well established, then you just keep watering it regularly like you would everything else, and it'll do just fine. I just don't like the taste. The only reason I grow it is for the pollinators. Pollinators love it. They love it. They will strip it. So I figure if they eat the fennel, they'll maybe stay away from my parsley and my dill. I grow rue for that reason too. They like rue, and I don't use it. You can use rue medicinally. I don't. I just have it for the pollinators. It's a good one for the summer, for the first part of summer. Lavender. Anybody growing lavender? Love it. Love this. Well, you grow everything, don't you? Like me. Not all lavenders are going to do well down here. There's a couple that will. The Gross and the Goodwin Creek Gray will do well down here. The lavender from Provence that everybody wants for culinary reasons does not do well here. It just doesn't. We're too far south. It's too hot. It's just not going to be happy. It's not going to be happy. The Provence? Lucky you. No, I've tried it.
Right now.
Wow.
Wow, you're doing something right, because it usually doesn't like the heat down here. I know, I haven't had good luck with it. But I've tried the other ones, and I've had mine for years. They do great.
Did you speak nicely?
Maybe I didn't, maybe I ignored it too much. Yeah. I ignore my herbs. They seem to do better that way.
April,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what kind did you say grows well here?
The Gross, I think it's Grosse, if I remember. Yeah. Oh, there it is, yeah. Grosso, I'm sorry. And the Goodwin Creek Gray. I had them right there. Yeah. You'll probably have better luck with it down here. Love lavender. It's lovely for all kinds of things. All right, so to propagate it, from cutting is a good way to do it. It does really well from cuttings. You want to it's a little bit different in the spring and the fall. So in the spring, what you want to do is get the soft new shoots. In the fall, you want to look for the woodier, harder. and maybe use a little growth hormone, cut it, put it in the growth hormone, stick it in some soil, and it should do just fine. Other than that, from seed, I've grown it from seed. Takes quite a while to come up. It's a slow one, but I have had luck with it with seeds as well. So it's up to you on how much time you have.
Spring, seeds, do you do spring or fall?
Spring is when I've done it. And I don't think it was one of the Grosso or the Goodwin Creek. So that makes a difference too. It's hard to find those seeds. They're very protective of the seeds on some of these designer ones. So you'd probably have to order it directly from the company that would carry them, and I didn't want to pay that much money. They're very pricey on some of that. Lavender historically has been known for the jack of all trades. It does a lot of different things medicinally. It's a really good herb to have around, and the smell is lovely. I've come across very few people that didn't like the smell of lavender. One is my sister-in-law, and I think she's really weird, so. Who knows? All right, mints, here we are. So mints, there's again, just lots and lots of varieties of it. Easy to grow. It's another really easy one if you're starting out. Can be invasive. Not can be, it is invasive. It'll take off, it'll take over your whole bed if you're not watching. Highly recommend growing it in a pot. That's how I grow my mints. Or if you have a sectioned off area. Now, if you have an area that won't grow anything else, like under a tree, and you want some kind of ground cover, you can grow it. It'll grow in the shade. It won't flower. You won't get the little bitty flowers from it. But it will, and it won't be probably as pretty, but it will survive. It's one of those that'll survive just about anything. I don't cover it during the winter. I don't put it in shade during the heat of the summer. It just goes and goes and goes. So just have to be a little careful with it. Lovely for your teas, putting it in your tea. Aromatherapy, smelling it is wonderful. Love it, love it, love it. There's all kinds of varieties. There's chocolate, there's spearmint, there's peppermint, there's all kinds of mints that you can get. They're all a little bit different. Don't plant them too close together if you're going to grow different varieties, because they will cross-pollinate and you're going to get a mixture in your flavors. You're not going to get that nice strong peppermint or nice strong spearmint or nice strong chocolate, whatever you're going for. The chocolate doesn't taste like chocolate, sorry. I know, it's just the smell. It tastes like a mint. So, but it's just
Orange
fun.
mint doesn't taste like
I
orange.
know, isn't that funny? You'd think it would, and lemon mint. But you get the smell, you just don't get the taste. If you got the taste, I'd be a lot skinnier. If I could eat it, it tasted like chocolate, that would really help. But I don't. It will germinate from seed, takes a couple of weeks. Cuttings, though, it just goes crazy from cutting. Yeah.
Is it safe around cats?
You know, most herbs are toxic. They're listed as toxic to pets, but I've got cats and they've never come near it. I don't think they especially like the scent. Now the catnip, yeah, they'll roll in that. The catmint, they'll roll in all day. The mints, it's hanging down. They don't even play with it. I don't think it's an attractive smell for them. I know it's a good one to have around. If you have an outbuilding with mice hate it. So if you have a problem with mice, grow your mints and your lavender, for that matter, around your outbuildings, and it will get rid of your mice. It's amazing. Bay leaf will do the same thing, yeah.
I have a question about propagating the mints. And invasive is right. I started last year in a little tiny pot, and it is everywhere in the bed.
Yeah.
And I'm picking it up and I'm drying it. But can I take those stalks and plant them
Yeah.
in a pot?
Yeah, I didn't bring any, but we'll use the thyme as an example. So you just pick up a piece of it like that and just strip the bottom off like that. Maybe you could start it in water. It will start in water. If it's woodier, again, just put it in a little growth hormone and then put it right in the soil and it'll take off. It's another one of those that loves to live. It'll take off, yeah. So you're gonna propagate your mint?
Yeah.
And bring us all some next
Like
time?
a garden.
Yeah, it is good for your outbuilding. Yeah, to get it around your outbuildings, you'd want to propagate it, maybe put it around those if you have mice. Yeah. But no, I've never heard of it of cats getting into it. But even catnip, I think, is listed as being toxic If they eat a whole bunch of it, I think it's how much they eat, ingest. That's when you have a problem, and I've never had my cats touch it. So, any other questions about mints? Okay. Moringa, one of my favorite herb. They're all my favorites.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've heard that one.
Yeah, I love them. All right, so I just happen to have one because somebody bought it and I'm gonna send it home with somebody. This is a moringa tree, and I probably put it in about 2 or 3 weeks ago, so it came up fairly quickly, got big fairly quickly. At the end of summer, can you get it? At the end of summer, it'll probably be at least 8 foot tall. It grows really fast.
That's
Very,
from
very-
seed?
From seed, yeah. This little guy will, once you put it out.
Is that in the ground or in the pot?
I have mine in a pot.
And it still grows?
It still grows that big. Now, mine is several years old and it's in a big pot. What you do with moringa is once you get it, and you can propagate it from the trunk or a big branch. You can do it. It's kind of a hassle to do it that way, but you can propagate it from a branch. The seeds it puts out are very eager to grow. They're very easy to grow from seed. So, and it puts out usually several shoots of the seeds every year. So it grows really, really big. And what you do when it starts getting cold, because it does not like the cold, it likes it hot, it likes the sun, it likes the heat of the summer, put it out in the sun, it'll thrive. So at the end of the summer, or when it starts cooling off, you'll chop it off to about 3 foot high, bring it in the house, put it in a greenhouse, put it somewhere where it can overwinter, and it'll come right back in the next spring. If you don't, the winter will probably kill it, especially if it's in a pot. It's just going to get too cold. So what you do is you take all the leaves after you wax it down to about 3 foot high, you hang them up, you let them dry, you put them in I use a coffee grinder, like one of those little $20 coffee grinders that you can get. You grind it up and you make your own moringa powder. And what you do is you sprinkle it on whatever you're eating. It's great for inflammation. Moringa, it's got other names. The miracle tree, the tree of life. It's said to be good for everything. Whatever ails you, it'll fix. It's got legendary sayings about it all over the world. But the trick with moringa is it doesn't like heat in cooking. It likes heat to grow, but not to eat. So you sprinkle it on things after you've cooked it or whatever you're doing, salads, sandwiches, whatever. They sell it as a tea. You can make your own tea out of it. They sell it as a tea at the grocery store. If you brew it hot, you've just killed all the nutrients, all the good stuff out of it. I know they don't tell you that on the package. They just want to sell it to you. You cold brew it. Cold brew it. Have a little cup. I have a cup every morning. I put a sprig of rosemary in it to help my memory, because rosemary is good for memory. But yeah, you grind it down. I think I got 2 whole things out of that big tree. It ground down. That's what I got out of it. I got 2 bottles. I give one to a friend.
What's it taste like?
Very slight peppery taste. Just very, very slight. It really doesn't have a lot of taste. If you use it as a green in your salads, when it's green during the summer, you really don't taste it at all.
Okay.
It's like another green, like your lettuce and whatever greens you put in your salad. But the health benefits are unbelievable. It's got all kinds of vitamins, including calcium and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Can you dehydrate it, the leaves?
I would just let it dry naturally. That's what I do with mine. I don't really like dehydrating the herbs. I think it's too rushed. I'd rather let it do it naturally in a dry, cool, dark place. And I mean, the leaves are so thin that they dry out really quick. So it's almost kind of a waste to dehydrate it, and you kind of lose. I know my dehydrator has that one kind of like a screen thing, but when they get crumbly like that, you lose part of it. Whereas if you hang it up and you let it dry naturally, you can have something under it to catch all the good stuff. I don't want to lose anything after growing all of it. Yeah.
Am I hearing you say that it's best, you only want to be using the leaves and none of the stem, or?
The moringa, you can use every part of the tree actually, but it's for different things. The root tastes kind of like a horseradish taste. The bark can be used for something. The seeds actually have the property that can purify water. The moringas are grown by the doctors across borders because it has so many uses, and because the leaves have so many nutrients, vitamins, calcium. It's the only plant that I know of that's a complete protein. So the Doctors Across Borders they discovered it, started growing it so that, to help out the kids and the pregnant women in these poorer countries, because they couldn't get all the vitamins and stuff in there. Yeah.
Can you use it with other herbs?
Yeah, absolutely.
They get fixed as well?
Yeah, yeah. There's no interaction with moringa.
I wouldn't suggest putting your potted moringa in the ground because just in case, but I have a moringa that's frozen, it's in the ground, it's frozen down, and it keeps coming back for 3 years.
I've heard other people say that are frozen that did not come out,
So like I said,
I guess it depends on how hard it freezes for how long, maybe. But it is from the tropic, the hotter areas, so. If it
not
got
the one I had in
cold-
a pot died, but the one
If it got too cold, yeah. In pots, it's gonna get a more severe temperature range because it's not protected. In the ground, if the ground stays warm, it'll make it probably. But yeah, it grows back. It's really remarkable when you get hurt.
I have a friend that has a moringa tree, and she cuts it back and then puts up the black tubs over it.
Yeah, anything like that to protect it through the winter, and then the next spring it comes back, yeah.
what does it do to the water, did you say? You just mentioned water.
The seeds can be used to purify water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat tree for a survivalist. If things got really, really bad, it's a good tree to have around. If the world goes to hell in a handbasket, I'd want to have a moringa. That's right. Any other questions about the moringa? It does get really big every year, so just be aware of that if you're going to put it in the ground and take a chance. You'd still want to whack it back, and then that's a great idea to put the big tub over it and protect it. Kind of goes dormant over the winter, and then it comes right back. Mine in the greenhouse, after I whacked it back, because it was warm in the greenhouse, it came back probably after a month. It was already bushing out in the greenhouse. Yeah.
Okay, mine's still little. You want to go ahead and, but it's not in full sun, go put it in.
Yeah, I'd start hardening it off if you haven't already, because it likes the sun,
Okay.
Now you don't want to scald it when it's really, really little like that, so maybe just a few.
It gets afternoon sun, but just, it's cooler, it's underneath the patio.
Oh, okay, yeah. Morning sun would probably be best when it's really young. Get it so you can leave it out there a little bit longer so it can get some good sunlight. Because it likes the sun, and then once it gets up a ways, then you can go ahead and put it out in the full sun. But yeah, my mature tree, I put it right out in that west sun every year. It loves it. 1 year I did not, I don't know, I got busy or something, and I left it in the backyard where it got the east sun, so it wasn't getting that long summer sun, and I didn't get any seeds out of it. It didn't flower, it didn't go to seed. Whereas when I have it in the west side of the house and it gets that full sun all summer, then I got the seed shoots coming out of it, and I could share with everybody. So, any other questions about moringa? It's a pretty neat herb, and it is, even though it's a tree, it is an herb.
How big of a pot do you put it in, April?
Mine is in a pretty good sized pot. The pot's probably about that high, about that big around. But mine's a pretty good sized tree, because I've had it, I don't know how many years, several years now. So you just keep bumping it up, and then it's been in that big pot for a few years now. Okay. Parsley, anybody growing parsley? Parsley does grow through the summer. It's delicious. Another one that's jam-packed full of vitamins. You should be eating your parsley if you're growing it. Great for the pollinators. Again, the caterpillars love it. In the summer, it likes the warm weather, but you need to give it the afternoon shade. So this one, you want to have the shade in the afternoon, just the opposite of the moringa. Put your parsley to where it's going to get that good morning sun. It's going to do fine. It's the one I said, it grows for 2 years. It's a biennial. At the 2 years, after it shoots up and bolts and goes to seed, whack it off, and it'll come right back. Mine is beautiful. I've had it probably 7 or 8 years. But that's what I do. Every 2 years, I just whack it down to the ground, and it comes right back. The curly parsley that's really pretty is a little bit bitter. It's beautiful for garnishing, but it's a little bit bitter. The flat Italian is going to have the bitter taste for cooking. I grow both. The pollinators seem to prefer the curly. They like that bitter for some reason. The Italian's what I used to cook with, so that's a happy medium. They get their curly, I get my flat Italians. You don't have to worry about cross-pollinating or anything like that. You can plant them fairly close together. This one takes a long time to come up from seed, and again, you have that problem if you've overwatered it, the seed's gonna rot before it comes up, so it's a little tricky. It can take up to a month to come up, so you're kind of taking your chances with that one. It can be propagated from a cutting. I've never actually done it, but they say you can do it, so hey, experiment, right? I have had luck with it coming up from seed though, but I've started it indoors and just keep a really close watch on your moisture. And what I do is I just use a spritzer. I don't really water it, so I keep the topsoil where the seed is just barely moist, and that way I don't get the seeds rotting, if that makes sense. And then just have patience, a lot of patience. Doesn't come up right away like the basil.
You go back one slide.
Oh, I went the wrong way down. Rose,
No,
oh, I skipped oregano. I missed one. What did I do? Go twice? Okay, let's talk about oregano. My favorite herb. I do a lot of Italian cooking, so these Mediterranean herbs, I grow all of them. I love them. It's delicious. Can be invasive. This one, it'll germinate in a week or two, so you can do it from seed, but from a cutting, it's really simple. You just take a little nip of a friend's oregano and stick it in some water, or growth hormone if it's a little bit harder. Piece of the plant, put some hormone root grower on it and stick it in some oil and it will just take off. It's from the mint family, so guess what mints do? They're invasive, okay? But it's delicious. You can use it. You can dry it. How much do those little containers cost at the store? I haven't bought. You can see what I do. I repurpose the little jars. I've had these little jars forever. How much are these going for nowadays?
Depends where you buy
Oh, that's a good price. I don't know, H-E-B, it's a lot more expensive, I go by. But yeah, I do a lot of my own herbs. And I have different methods. If I want a chunkier herb, I have a little hand grinder thing I use. If I want them really fine like this, if I'm gonna sprinkle it, then I use the coffee grinder. But oregano is great, and it goes year round. Mine's just out in the garden. I don't cover it. I don't do anything to it. It grows in the heat. It's fine in the wintertime during a freeze. It is a great ground cover, a living mulch, so to speak, for your tomatoes and peppers. Oregano has the ability of keeping the soil temperature and moisture level at a great place for your vegetable plants. So instead of going and constantly getting mulch, if you grow it and let it spread and let it be a ground cover, you can use it that way. And then cut it back when you harvest your vegetables. You can cut it back and dry it and use it, grind it up and use it that way. It's a great companion plant for your basil as well. They work well together. And some of these herbs actually release the nutrients in the soil for your other herbs and your vegetable plants. So it's going to make your plants healthier if you do it that way. Again, it deters the bad pests, and it tends to attract the good pests. It's amazing how these things do that. Really good. It was historically used to support the immune system. So if you're into smoothies, things like that, go ahead and put a little bit in your smoothie, sprinkle some on your salads, your sandwiches. Use your herbs. They're great for that kind of stuff. Antioxidants. They are full of it. Any questions about oregano? Another really easy one to grow. Oh, we get a picture. Thank you for catching that I went past it. Wait a minute, what happened to my oregano? Got it? Okay. Back to parsley. All right, I think we covered parsley pretty well. Any questions about parsley? It will take a freeze, amazingly. It'll get down to 10 or 15 degrees and it'll survive that. So it survives the summer as well as the winter. Again, I don't cover mine, I just let it go, and mine's huge. It does get afternoon sun, shade. It likes the morning sun, afternoon shade. I think it probably would fry in our Texas sun in the afternoon. Questions? Rosemary, my favorite herb. The smell of it is delicious. Very, very easy to propagate from a cutting. I know I have several in our neighborhood growing it, and if you needed one, you could just kind of be doing your walk and kind of go, take it home. What you do to propagate, the best way to propagate. rosemary is take about 6 inches. About 6 inches, cut it off. And I always tell people, you have to make this noise when you do this. You go, you have to make the noise. I share that with you. You take that, you get it a little bit moist, you stick it in your growth hormone. Now this will, when it's young and tender like this, it'll propagate in water. It'll start growing the roots in the water. But I like it best just take a little thing like that, go through, take those off, stick it in some growth hormone, tap it off, stick it in some soil, and it'll take off. It's a slow grower. It's very, very slow, so you have to have patience with it. If you're going to do it from a little cutting, what you do is it grows up a little bit, you'll just take a little nip off the top and put some leaves, and smell it. You can smell it. And from that, it's going to start getting bushy, so that's how you get the bushiness out of it. So this guy started out just like this little bitty guy, and I kept nipping at it, and it starts pushing out. But it does take time. Even though it's not time, it takes time. It's a slow grower. Delicious to have, great for cooking if you're into the Italian type cooking like I am. Good for memory. Historically, it was used as a remembrance herb to help people remember, and now studies are finding that it actually does help with cognitive memory and things like that. So, like I said, I put a little sprig of it in my tea every morning, my cool brew moringa tea. Yeah.
So it helps when it's ingested. What about the fragrance? Does that help?
Yeah.
Aromatherapy is a very interesting, it's being researched a lot. And it does actually work. They found that aromatherapy does some of the same things. It helps you with your memory, it helps you calm, it helps to calm you down, it helps with anxiety, things like that. And they are researching that. It does. That's a whole nother lecture we could go into. But yes, the aromatherapy does work. The definition of an herb is something that has medicinal, aromatic, and culinary properties, okay? So aromatic is one of the properties, and it does work. Now, lavender, we did an experiment with class this year. I made them all dream pillows, which you make with lavender blossoms. And I think some of the students had very good luck with that. It's supposed to deter nightmares, night terrors. They used to use it, I'm getting off subject here, but they used to use it during the wars in the in the hospitals and sick rooms because the soldiers would be, terrorized. They'd wake up with these night terrors. They used these dream pillows that had the lavender blossoms in it, and they could sleep. They could actually get some sleep. And especially some of the guys in this class this time, I think Clayton, did you say you had good luck with the dream pillow? Yeah, they're getting really good luck with it. Somebody who's not here said he had he can't sleep more than 2 hours. Every 2 hours he wakes up. He said he used the dream pillow and he got a good long sleep out of it. They think some of the aromatic properties help your mind. Well, with the lavender, it helps your mind go into that REM sleep, which you need. It's kind of like a computer needs to be cached out, I think they call it. When you turn it off, it caches out and gets rid of all the stuff in there. Frank would know better than me, my husband. But it helps your mind to drain everything out. And sometimes you have these weird, very colorful, vibrant dreams. But once you get past that REM state, you go into a really deep, nice sleep because your brain is emptied out of all the stuff that's going on in there. So it helps you to sleep. And I heard back from several of the students that they got a really good night's sleep out of it. Yeah.
What about using the leaves for that? That's what I always thought was the aromatic part, but you're saying it blossoms.
Yeah, the leaves, I would use the leaves more for things like smudge sticks where you burn it and you have the smoldering. That's where you're going to get the better properties out of the leaves. I think the blossoms have more of the scent. Yeah, dried blossoms. You dry it out. And then with the dream pillows, you put it under your head in the heat because your head puts out a lot of heat. And the heat from your head releases the scent, and then that's where you get the aromatic properties that help you with that. So, any other questions about, we went back to lavender, rosemary or lavender? Sorry about that. Told you we could do a whole lecture on some of these things. All right, moving on. Uh-oh, I'm almost out of time. Let's hurry along here. Sage, said to be the master of all herbs. It's another really good one to grow here. It will be an annual in this area unless you bring it during the winter. It can get woody. One thing I was going to tell you about rosemary too. A lot of people will come to me and saying, I have this huge rosemary plant and it just died. And I'll ask them, how old was your rosemary? And they'll say, oh, probably about 10 years old. Rosemary only lives to be about 7 or 10 years old, okay? So some of these herbs do have a lifetime, okay? They're not gonna live forever and ever and ever. So rosemary about,
Glad it's not my fault.
yeah, it's not your fault, not because they'll freeze, it's because they only have a lifespan. Sage is the same way. About 5 years old, it's gonna start getting woody. I would replace it. It's gonna get scraggly looking, so maybe about 5 years on your sage. I'm gonna go quickly through the rest because we're running out of time. But yeah, above 55, it does real well. Thyme, it's another really slow growing herb. So I would do it from propagation like I just showed you. Just take a snip. You're welcome to come prune my thyme if you want to after class. Take a nip of it, take it home, do the dip it, put it in some water or some growth hormone and put it in the soil. It will take off on you. It really likes it when it's above 70 and above. So it does not like the cold at all. It's one of those that's going to really like it nice and warm. Oh, we're running out of time. Where to place your herbs? Place your herbs where it's going to be useful to you. If they're culinary herbs, put it near the kitchen, because otherwise you're going to go, oh, I got to run all the way out to the backyard and half an acre back and you don't use it. If you have it right outside your kitchen door or somewhere where you can get it, or in a herbal thing in your window in the kitchen, you're going to nip it and use it more often. They're really, really good for you. I always feel like a used car salesman at this point because use your herbs. But wait, there's more. Now, use your herbs. They're full of vitamins, full of antioxidants. You can make cleaning products out of your herbs. You can do all kinds of things with your herbs. All right. These are the herbs that are very drought tolerant, which is good for our area. Some of these we did not talk about, but you might want to take a quick picture and try some of them. Bay, I have a bay tree. I have a bay, it's wonderful. Nobody got it? Oh. And the bay tree will make it all year round too. It does turn into a really, really big tree though, if you don't keep it in a container and keep it cut down. Herb problems. Herbs do not have many problems. They really don't. They're pretty pest resistant. Your sage might get some mildew. The problem most people have is overwatering, over-fertilizing. A lot of herbs do not like fertilizer. I don't fertilize my herbs at all. The only ones that get anything are my oregano and my basil because they're next to the tomatoes, which are a heavy feeder. So they get some of that leached out, but basil likes a little bit of the fertilizer. Most other herbs do not. You can fertilize her and they're gonna go, whoa, I don't like this. I always equate it to, my mom is from Southwest Oklahoma. Her favorite meal is pinto beans and cornbread. She could eat that every night of the week. If I make a lobster bisque or something really fancy, she goes, no thank you. Oh, I'll get a can of pork beans, thank you. They just don't like a rich soil, most of them. A lot of herbs are weeds. Where do weeds grow? Everywhere, right? In the most horrible soil, everywhere. So think of herbs as weeds. Don't be hover moms over your herbs. All right, you've always heard that the shelf life of herbs is what, 6 months? Do you know why that is? They don't go bad, your dried herbs, in these expensive little containers, okay? They don't go bad. They just start losing some of their flavor. After 6 months, I use them for my cleaning products. I use them for other things, okay? This is the recommended shelf life put out by the American Spice Trade Association. Texas A&M puts it out. This is more what I go by. I don't go through and take out my herbs every 6 months. For me, they're just fine. I find this little table very handy. If they're in a glass container, and this is years, not months, that's years. This is really what I would keep it in my cabinet for. I think the people that put out 6 months, I think, were the herb owner companies, and they wanted you to just keep buying the little bottles of expensive herbs. But I find this very handy. Do date your herbs. I think I put a date on here. Well, I know that I harvest every year, so this is 1 year old. Or it will be at the end of the summer. Tips for adding them to your recipes. Like I said, sprinkle them on stuff. Use them fresh and things. It's very easy to add them. A lot of them don't have a lot of taste, like the moringa. So you can add it in there. You're going to get all the vitamins and nutrients and antioxidants out of it, and you're really not going to taste it. My mom is going to be turning 20. I'll we do that? She's gonna be turning 95 this year, it's 2025, right? She's getting to the point where she's like a little kid and doesn't like her vegetables. So I'm having to sneak vegetables in on her meals, and I will sneak the herbs in. Are you cutting me off?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
Do they stay longer if you freeze dry them?
yes. Oh, everything, yeah, everything lasts longer if it's freeze. If you can afford to freeze dryer, and they have come down in price, I would highly recommend it. Yeah, just put them into all kinds of things. I had some recipes, but wait, I got some else. So here's some recipes for y'all. You can pass them around. Should be enough. If not, we'll make some more. Just put them in all kinds of things. Put them in your salad dressing. Fresh, nothing better than fresh salad dressing, right? You can put them in your smoothies. There's several the herb butter recipes in there. Just all kinds of things. Teas, wonderful for teas. Here's the lavender dressing. Cheese herb muffins. Put it in your rice. Put it on your, if you're a fish eater, chicken eater, they're great on that. Rosemary on white beans is wonderful. I'm running out of time, so I'm going very quick here. Pesto you can freeze. You can't can it, but you can make pestos out of your mints, your basils, your oregano, your cilantro, all kinds of things. Freeze it. Cucumber salad is wonderful with your herbs. All right, so it comes down to, you can use your herbs all kinds of ways, but you need to identify them, realize that they do have medicinal purposes, they do have medicinal properties. If you eat too much of them, that can affect your prescription drugs. I have a story about that, but we're out of time. The medicinal properties in an herb are mostly in the stem. The leaves you use more for culinary. The stem is where the oils are. If you touch rosemary, it's kind of sticky. That's where your oils are. If you look at a stem of an herb under the microscope, the essential oils, which you pay big bucks for, right? You can harvest them yourself. There's ways to do it. They look like tiny little bubbles on the stem. It's really neat. It's really cool to look at under a microscope. But you can harvest the essential oils yourself. It's not that hard. You can probably Google it, right? You could use your herbs that way. All right, so just be aware and be able to identify. There is my sources if you want to look up anything and read up on it more. And I think I just went over by 2 minutes. Yeah.
When some of the people came in late, can you tell them how they can view this on YouTube?
Class.
Oh, with the recording, yes. Now, how are we going to get that out to the public? Put it on Facebook? Okay, so you can watch a recording of the class. Paul Prince, let's give him a hand. Thank you, Paul. Recorded this, so you can go online and watch it if you didn't catch anything. We will put it out to the members via VMS. Thank you. One of those V things, and we'll put it out on Facebook. Other than that, did everybody sign in? Yes. You did? All right. Some lucky person, not doing my time, but somebody's going to get this lovely rosemary. Paul, pick a number between, how many signed in? Do we know? Go look and see how many signed in, and we're going to pick a number.